What is going on, everyone? My name's Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video, and today it's the weekly points prediction video where I take you through 3 defenders, 3 midfielders and 3 forwards that I think are going to score well in the upcoming game week, and also take you through how I did last week so you can see how I'm kind of getting on week to week. It's a bit trickier than you would think. You think getting a free reign or maybe a free wild card would be pretty easy to do, but seemingly it is not, or maybe that I'm just bad at it. But let's just jump in and see how we did in game week 5, and then I'll go through my picks for game week 6. So last week, similar story to the week before and how I did. Most of it not too great, to be honest, but the forwards did really well again. Starting in defence, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I did say that I thought potentially a captain option this week, or one of the fullbacks would do okay against Newcastle. It ended up being Robertson in the end, but only a score of 5. Unfortunately, that great goal from Willems meant that no clean sheet for Liverpool. So unfortunate to only get 2. Lundstram 2 as well. Didn't think that Southampton would do too well offensively. Still scored a goal though, which obviously negates the clean sheet and no attacker returns. So that was a bit of a fail as well. And Danny Rose is an okay pick. He got a yellow card and a clean sheet against Crystal Palace, a 4-0 win, which is obviously decent, but it was the other fullback in Aurier who's only 4.9 million, so 0.6 million less than Rose. The one and got 2 assists and obviously kept the clean sheet as well. And I think he came away with 14 points. Now, whether he's going to keep his place, we don't know. Foyt and Kyle Walker-Peters might have something to say about that. And we've seen Aurier kind of be in and out of the team before. Pochettino likes to rotate his fullbacks as well, but he could be a really good price for 4.9 million. So keep an eye on that, but Rose did okay. My number 1 pick was Salah. Now I think about it, I should have probably thought about that a bit more when I made my captaincy decision, which was Sterling. I can't remember exactly why I said I wasn't going for Sterling last week, but Salah came away with his goal and bonus points against Newcastle, which was nice. Obviously, Mane did much better in that game and has been pretty much matching Salah for a little while now, so maybe something to consider if you need to save some money. But Salah has only blanked in 1 game so far, so always a good pick. Sigurdsson, look, I think I've said a few times already this season, if you had him, I think you've been unlucky not to get in the points, but now is probably a time to get rid of, or at least after the Sheffield United at home game, because he's just not bringing in the points for his price. He's already dropped as well. Everton are kind of hit and miss with the amount of goals they're going to score, so only 2 points for him. David Silva came off, I think, on 56 minutes. Obviously, Man City did not do well against Norwich, which was extremely unfortunate, considering that I thought they were going to absolutely blow them away this week, but it didn't happen. And then up front, I had 3 forwards last week that all scored 2 goals each. I think it was Vardy, Aguero, and Abraham maybe. And so this week after Aubameyang and Wilson played, I thought, I'm on again for a triple score of 2 goals each. But unfortunately, Haller only came in with 2. But Wilson, to be fair, has not blanked all season, has gone down in price, and has now started scoring as well as gotten the assist that he got earlier in the season. So it looks like a good buy. Pretty okay fixtures as well. And Aubameyang, while Lacazette is out, is going to start century. He's going to be a great pick for 11 million. And arguably could be one of the best premiums over the next few weeks. When Lacazette comes back, he might move back out to the left, which could be a problem. But looking decent. So a mixed result. Still 1, 2, 3, 4 results out of 9. So not quite halfway. I guess that's the least the main aim, to get at least 5 or 6. Let's hope we can do it in game week 6. So starting off as always with defenders, and I'm ignoring Man City against Watford. Obviously played Norwich at the weekend, looked pretty poor in defence, made quite a few mistakes. I did look at the statistics before the Villa West Ham game, and Norwich were actually bottom for the amount of goal attempts for the whole of game week 5. So they didn't actually have too many shots, but Man City did make some mistakes, trying to play out from the back, probably not the same as when they've got Laporte in there, and now Stones is injured as well, so a little bit of a worry. I've got Zinchenko in my main team, probably going to keep him this week, but I'm going to start to think about maybe dropping him. But you got to think Man City will still be able to keep clean sheets, but Watford did pretty well against Arsenal. New manager bounce as well, maybe they can nick a goal against this Man City defence. And Liverpool away to Chelsea, and to be fair, Chelsea haven't been great defensively themselves, but they have been able to score goals, so I don't know if that's a good one for Liverpool. So ignoring those 2. So my number 1 pick this week is Lucas Digne. Now Sheffield United aren't actually doing too bad defensively, but neither are Everton either, so not conceding too many shots. Looking over the course of the season so far, only United, Leicester, so Man United, Leicester, and Man City have conceded less shots in the box than Everton. So they're kind of keeping their opponents to kind of maybe have shots outside the box, and in general just not too many shots. And obviously they have a pretty good run of fixtures, but that's one of the reasons you're picking them against Sheffield United at home. Lucas Digne has created the 2nd most chances out of all defenders, only behind the great Trent Alexander-Arnold. I guess the only issue with Everton really in terms of picking Digne right now for his attacking threat is Everton's goal scoring ability hasn't looked great recently for most of their players. They kind of put in Calvert-Lewin back in. Moise Kean played the week before. Who's going to be back in this week? They did struggle against Bournemouth, so it is a little bit of a worry, but you'd hope that obviously you'd be able to get the clean sheet. They did well against Wolves. Maybe they can pull that back out of the bag again. A home game is obviously a decent fixture to do that in. So hopefully get a clean sheet and maybe some attacking returns as well would be a bonus. Non-top 6 is Gary Cahill against Wolves. Now, given that Wolves have just scored 2 goals in the last 2 games, this is perhaps a little bit of a reach to get points from this, but they're playing in Europe again this week, which I think is going to hurt them. They've not really been doing too well this season. And also, to be fair, Palace have just got beaten 4-0 against Spurs. So that is a little bit of a worry, but they did keep a clean sheet when they played at home the week before against Aston Villa. And like I said, Wolves have got another European game. And I think in general, Crystal Palace Hodgson team, you would expect to get clean sheets. So if Wolves are maybe tired and just not playing too well and going back to how they were playing before, we might see a clean sheet here for Cahill. He should be good for bonus as well once they do get one, and maybe got a little bit of goal threat too. So only 4.5 million. I think if you need a cheap defender, you could look at him, although the fixtures are going to tighten up soon. And then less than 10%, I've gone for Ashley Young, 0.4% owned at the time of recording this. And obviously with Luke Shaw out, Young is pretty much sewn at that left-back spot. I don't expect anyone to come in. And United in general, defensively, have actually looked okay. Offensively, on the attack, absolutely awful, but defensively, pretty good. They're third for shots conceded in the box, for the least amount of shots conceded in the box. They've got the best expected goals conceded, so they're not giving up a huge amount of great chances. Even against Leicester, they didn't give away too many chances either. And when you look at when Young's come into the side between Game Week 3 and 5, he's only created one less chance than Lucas Digne, and is actually third of all defenders for chances created, and he does take some set pieces as well. So West Ham are going to be a bit of a tough one. They are taking quite a few shots, but they weren't able to get past Aston Villa. Obviously, this is an away game, which is a bit more maybe of a worry than if Man United were at home. But I still think there's potential for a clean sheet there, and he is creating quite a few chances, so could get in the points. 5.4 million, a bit of a stretch, but definitely a differential. So midfielders, and we are back to backing Raheem Sterling. 2 blanks in a row. People are getting a bit of cold feet on him, wondering about whether they should take him out. But obviously he has scored 5 goals in the opening 5 games. It's frustrating that he's not scored in the last 2, and obviously he has been captained quite heavily, which is why people are getting a bit annoyed with him. But this is a pretty good fixture. Now, in the last 2 games, there is a little bit of a worry. He's only had 4 shots in the box. And to put that into perspective, that's less than Kouyate at Crystal Palace and the same as Cleverley. So a little bit of a worry. I think Watford's a good fixture to turn that around. And they've not actually conceded a whole huge amount of shots. They're kind of in the middle, which is what I was saying on the last few videos. But I think Arsenal show that they are there for the taking. Arsenal scored 2 goals pretty quickly in that game, and they should have really put the game to bed. It was only kind of Arsenal's defensive frailties which hurt that. And although Man City have been pretty poor in defence as well, I don't think they're as bad as Arsenal just yet. So I think this would be a good fixture for him. I definitely think there's goals in that for City. We'll have to see who plays in Europe. I'm recording this before the European games are on. So we'll have to see kind of who plays and what minutes they get. But I think you could almost see City as a wounded animal. Pep is going to want to strike back and get a win, obviously, before he gets too far behind Liverpool. So I expect Sterling to play again, and a pretty good fixture for him. Cantwell up next. I think... And I kind of think I'm guilty of this too. I think if he was more expensive, he'd probably be in more teams. I'm not talking like 7-8 million, but if he was kind of 5.5, 6 million, I think he'd probably be in even more teams than he already is. And he is quite heavily owned already. He's created 9 chances so far this season, which is slightly behind Buendia, but not by too much. But he's had 4 shots in the box, which Buendia hasn't. And he's been getting pretty good chances because he's getting these tap-ins. He's making the runs at the right time, getting into the right position. And obviously you can say that anyone can finish them, but it's all about getting into the position as well. And I wouldn't usually favour a team playing against Burnley away in general, especially not like a Norwich team, but we've seen how good they've been this season. I don't see why that wouldn't continue against Burnley. So I think that could be a goal or a game with goals in. I think Cantwell could be right up there. And obviously if he keeps creating chances with Pookie around, then they're going to score them. And then Richarlison versus Sheffield United at home, like I said, a kind of last chance saloon for Everton players, I think, this game, especially in attacking sense. Richarlison has scored a couple of goals, but obviously only 2 in the first 5, and they did come in the same game. So we'll have to see who starts up front, Keane and Calvert-Lewin. Although Calvert-Lewin scored in the last game, I do think they look a bit better with Moise Keane up front. But Richarlison himself has performed pretty well. 14 goal attempts, 10 shots in the box, and created 5 chances as well. So pretty decent. but obviously did only score in that one game, like I said. I think underlying stats, he probably deserves a bit more than he's had so far. This is a player in the last 2 seasons, in the first half of the season, scored around 10 goals as well. So I do think there's more to come from him. I think we're going to see that kind of patch of goals come from him again. Sheffield United at home is a good fixture. After that, who knows? But I think for this, he's a good pick. And lastly, we've got forwards, where I've actually been doing all right with these points predictions. So hopefully I can do it again, although when I look at the screen, I'm not quite sure. But I'll give you my reasons why I've picked these players. Aubameyang's the number 1 again. Obviously, Aguero will probably do well against Watford. But Aubameyang's pretty much nailed to start on. Aguero should be as well, but obviously got Jesus back, and we'll have to see how many minutes he gets in Europe, etc. And Kane right now, I'm just not really interested in. Plays Leicester away as well. Isn't shooting anywhere near enough. So Aubameyang's the number 1 pick. Hasn't blanked yet. 5 goals, 1 assist already, which is really impressive. And probably the only Arsenal player worth having defensively. Not looking great. Ceballos isn't getting enough minutes. Not really doing enough attacking wise either. The rest of the midfield is not really playing consistently. Pepe is just too expensive. We need to see him get his goals settled down and maybe get a few more attacking returns before we look at bringing him in. So with Lacazette out, Aubameyang's playing more central, like I said at the start, so he looks a really good pick. And you should imagine he'll get quite a few chances against Aston Villa. They have defended quite well, but they have also given up a lot of shots. So I don't know how much longer they can keep going, getting these blocks in, getting these tackles in, before they just end up getting absolutely battered. Now, they might not lose 5 or 6-0 against Arsenal, but I can see him conceding quite a few goals. So we'll see what happens there. But Aubameyang should be a good pick. Non-top 6 have gone for Vardy. Now, obviously against Spurs, which is a difficult fixture. And Leicester are a bit of a weird one so far this season. They're not really conceding too many chances. They're right down the bottom, one of the best teams. But they're also not creating too many chances either, or having too many shots in the box. They've actually had less than Wolves, Villa and Southampton. But that doesn't necessarily matter for someone like Vardy. He doesn't tend to get too many shots anyway. If you see like the amount of touches in games he gets and the amount of shots in the box, it's not usually too high, but he is pretty clinical once he gets them. So if you can get a chance against Spurs, it should be good. And obviously he is on penalties as well. And Spurs, although they kept the clean sheet against Palace, they have been conceding a lot of chances themselves. So I think Leicester can get at them. So it should be a good game. I think the fact that Vardy's at home really helps in this one. If it was away, I wouldn't be so sure. But I think Vardy could be a good option as a non-top 6 this week. And then Che Adams, again, talking about a bit of a reach, this might be it as well. 0.6% owned, hasn't got any attacking returns, I don't think. Certainly no goals yet. Bournemouth at home. Now, Southampton obviously aren't that prolific right now either. They've got 5 goals in 5 games. Adams has started every game so far, and has probably been a little bit unlucky not to have any returns. So 9 shots in the box, 4 chances created. He's had 5 big chances, but no goals, and his expected goals is 1.52. So you could say unlucky, you could say bad at finishing, but at some point, if he keeps having these shots, he's going to put one away. Hopefully it's this week against Bournemouth. And Bournemouth themselves are conceding quite a few chances. So I don't expect Southampton to score kind of 2, 3, 4 goals in this one. But Che Adams is going to open his scoring sooner rather than later. And if you keep starting every game, keeps having shots in the box, then this could be the one where it happens. So that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of my predictions for this week. How do you think I'm going to get on? Who would you go for instead? If you're enjoying this content, make sure to give it a like. Much appreciated as always. I know this has come out on a slightly different day this week, like I said earlier in the week. Content schedule is a bit mixed up, but hopefully we'll get the preview out again this week, and obviously we'll have a stream at 9 o'clock on Thursday evening as well, going for all your questions, my current team, what my thoughts are with transfers and stuff like that. Subscribe if you're new around here, that let you know when all the videos are going live and when I'm live streaming, etc. And hit that notification bell so you get those notifications as well. Otherwise I'll leave that video there. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers.